Hey there, toy collector friends and Star Trek fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time travelling toy collector, and today we are back with another entry into the Star Trek official Starships collection as produced by Fanhome, and this time it is the Shrike, which was the ship piloted, captained by Vadik in Star Trek Picard. We'll take a quick look, first of all, at the box. We love the box. Let's move that back before we start to talk about that. There we can see Star Trek Picard. There's the product artwork. And I will say, it has a more metallic sheen on the product shot on the box than it does in real life. There's the logo there. Star Trek Picard, it's the Shrike. Pretty much nothing unusual or new or different to see around the edges. Product shot in the stand on the side there. Words and nothingness on the bottom, so we can get rid of that quite swiftly, and then we can focus in on the main event itself, which is the Shrike. So first up, let's just pop it for a bit of a spin so we can have a decent look at the Shrike in its rotation. It does have an awful lot of really nice surface detail. You know, cutting straight to it. As a ship, it does look very striking. It does catch your eye, and it does look quite ferocious, I have to say. It really does. And it's interesting because the Shrike is again one of those ships that, and I'll get it in hand in a second for those of you who are unfamiliar with how I look at these on this channel. I will get it up in hand, but we can just see from here some of that wonderful, that detailing there in the engine detailing. I'm just going to pause it there for a second. But the Shrike was one of those ships that I was pretty much convinced I wasn't that keen on. I wasn't that bothered about having the Shrike in hand. I thought, you know what? This is one of those sort of B or C lister ships that are coming with the collection because, you know, they've got to pad out the collection, and here we are with it. But once you see it, once you actually have it in hand, it's very weighty. I say it's one of the weightiest we've had so far. Most definitely one of the weightiest we've had so far, and it's clearly plastic along here. So the sort of the segments that come out are very definitely plastic. You can feel the plastic quality here, which makes them, of course, brittle and very easy to break. So be mindful of that. If you were to pick this up either as a spot purchase, or, you know, if you're considering subscribing, should they re-release the option to do so, bear in mind these are very, very fragile. I can feel how fragile they are, to be honest. You may have noticed that these aren't quite aligned. I don't know whether that's deliberately screen accurate or just an unfortunate element of it, how it's ended up in the box. But whilst we've got it in this configuration, we can take a look. Here you can see, I mean, I'll do it properly in a second, but that's quite an imposing, you see that coming towards you, that's quite an imposing silhouette, isn't it? And it has almost sort of a scarabesque feel to it. I'll zoom out slightly so you can get more of a sense of that. But yeah, it's sort of it feels a bit scarabesque in its design, if you can see that there, which I think is great. I think that's really, really good. I love it. Right, so let's do the usual and get nice and up close. I'm going to do it from the back because the front is mostly just these prongs. It's going to be easier to handle it and manipulate it from the rear. So again, we can see these pylons that hold on to these, I suppose, the equivalent of nacelles. There we've got what looks like, but I'm not so sure that it is. I was going to say it looks like it might be translucent plastic, but I don't think it is. I think it's just the way it's painted. I think it's painted in a very shiny red that almost gives the illusion of it being translucent plastic. I don't think there's any in any part of these engines. I mean, if we get in really close, you can see all of those are just painted. Yeah, it's all just painted effects, which is great. It works. So let's stick with the top now, and we'll move down. You can see, hopefully the quality is good enough that you can see that surface detailing and the mechanical detailing that goes along with it. There's some very nice not overly used tamper graphics to pull out some of the detailing there, and it looks like there's a nice certainly on the camera it looks like there's a nice wash across it, but I wish I could say to you how and maybe I'll be able to show it better off in the photographs. It has a much more caramel, sort of almost toffee-ish burnt orange colour to it in hand, and I'm looking on the screen and it almost looks like it's downplaying that. It's almost more the colour that these orange segments here look, and these are actually slightly brighter. And you can see that they are pulled out. There's some areas pulled out with this orange and this yellow, but yeah, the surface detailing, really excellent surface detailing. And because there's no obvious window design, you can see some slight misalignments there. Before I perjure myself, there's some slight but very, very slight misalignments, but because there's no other obvious windows, that isn't really a major draw of the eye on this particular product. You're not really going, oh, there's a lot of surface misalignments there. So yeah, from the top we can see just how terrific this looks. Let me just change the lighting slightly to see if that'll have an impact on the colorization and the white balance. It might make a difference on the screen. You might be able to see it a bit more clearly. It doesn't seem to be having any, so I'll abort that. Yeah, let's now reverse that and take a look. You can see how the underlighting gets it. It's just beautiful. It's as I say, this is originally I was really prepared to sort of dismiss this ship on the basis that, well, it's just not one for me. You can see here what I assume is the deflector, the main deflector dish, which is pulled out again in that sort of burnt orange colour. It really doesn't appear to be any translucent plastic on this model at all. But for what it's worth, they have made up for it in die cast in the main body, because this is very clearly die cast. But again, I'll just stress, do be careful here. These are very, very brittle, and I would say very easily broken. Again, I love this sort of almost scarabesque bottom section here. Again, look at all of that wonderful detailing. It's really lovely, really, really lovely detailing there. And I love the layering. You can just sort of see there's obviously you've got this section, then you've got here, and then you've got this. So the layering is really, really lovely. And I think, you know, even the detailing in between the wings, you can see as the light gets in there. There's some very nice detailing there. All in all, beautiful ship. Again, it's one of those ships that it needs to be done well, I think, to make it as effective as it clearly is. The stand is thrown. I'll see if you can see it there. It does throw the ship back slightly, and the positioning of the stand of the actual plastic holding cradle is to the back end. So again, it's managing the center of gravity there. But yeah, as a ship, it certainly has quite a presence. I'm just trying to get it so it's nicely angled in the shot, but it certainly has a lovely presence. Albeit you can sort of feel that it has something of a malignant presence, I would have to say, which is, you know, probably a bit fitting. We do get, of course, the official magazine that goes with it, and there's some lovely artwork. I'll zoom out slightly for the purposes of the magazine, but there's some lovely artwork there on the front. It's the Shrike. You can see some of the command information here. Again, there's that view of it coming directly at you. Yeah, they're pulling this deflector dish out in this sort of amber colour. I think it would have been really nice if we could have just, it wouldn't be the first time they've done it, if we could have had just some sort of amber coloured translucent plastic there, just to maybe bolster it, or maybe a more powerful piece of paintwork. So yeah, we get all the information that you could possibly want about the ship. There's some nice various illustrations of the vessel itself. You also get some behind the scenes information around the design and the process of design. I think there are some, we've got some pre-production shots, some visualization shots, conceptualizing it. So there's a lot of extra value in these magazines, and I say it every time, it's really great that they produce them. They didn't have to. When they brought back the ships, they could have just gone with the ships, but no, they did give us that extra value, and I for one am particularly pleased about that. So this is the Shrike as it appeared in Star Trek Picard, and as I say, it wasn't one of my favorites. It certainly wasn't on my radar as a ship that would sort of hold my attention once I got it out of the box. I very much thought, oh, it's going to be a gap filler. It's a placeholder until we get to some of the more exciting and interesting ones. But yet again, they've surprised me, because this isn't the first time I've thought this about one of the Fanhome ships. And I think that is a sort of a baked-in issue if you are subscribing to a collection, because you subscribe to the collection and you are going to get lesser and more popular ships, and those ships that have more of an affinity to what you like and what the aesthetic that appeals to you. And I'm not saying that as an aesthetic it doesn't appeal to me. Because I'm into any number of aesthetics when it comes to starship designs. I'm not in any way precious about things like that, but I do think I suppose it was just the illustrations of it. It didn't sort of reach out of the marketing materials and sort of grab me, and that has done it a disservice from my point of view. I think it's a much nicer ship. I think it has a nice flow to the design of it, and I worry that other people may think like I do and sort of dismiss it as a non-runner, when actually it's not as bad. It's not as bad in hand and in real life as I predetermined it was going to be. So that's my own fault that I've thought that. But the flip side is that it makes a fantastically pleasant surprise when you discover you're wrong about something like that, because it is really, really great. Folks, have you picked this up? Do you like it? Do you think actually no, it is more of a filler ship? It's not one that you're going to keep in the collection. You're selling it on, or you're going to gift it to that person that maybe isn't your favourite. Because actually it doesn't have a place in your collection, but you've just picked it up because it's par for the course of the subscription? Or is it one you've sought out? Have you bought it as a standalone from Fanhome because you couldn't get the subscription and you're now able to get the stock and you're really pleased that you've picked this up? Let me know your thoughts. What do you think of the design of it? Do you think it's translated well into the Fanhome Starships collection? I am, as ever, really keen to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Please do let me know. If you're still here, please drop a like to the video, and if you could search your heart and possibly drop a subscription to the channel, that would be amazing. It would really help me reach my next key subscriber milestone. I am on the way to it, so it would be fantastic for me to achieve that. It's a personal achievement, and also, of course, does wonders for my own ego. But genuinely, it really does help boost the channel and increase the reach. It is quite a small YouTube channel, hence why I and lots of others like me find ourselves at the end going, please subscribe and please like the video, and probably annoying the hell out of you. So apologies if we've annoyed the hell out of you, but it does make a huge difference. So just click, and it would be amazing. Anyway, I've been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. This has been the Shrike from the official Star Trek Starships Collection as produced by Fanhome, and you have been a fantastic viewer sitting here with me, companion on my side, as I've taken a walk through this new addition to my collection. And I very much look forward to seeing you in a future or, of course, possibly a past video. And it just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.